Folks, just want to make sure that you can see my screen okay, where it says 7 ways to strike marketing gold in a tough economy. If you can just go to the questions box again, just want to get you using that. Perfect. Great. Well, we do a webinar every 2 weeks. I've done so for 15 years, and we have a bit of a tradition, which is that if you're joining an exclusive webinar and you've never been to one before, you're actually amongst great company and people who join regularly, and we just ask that you introduce yourself. We'd love to see who's here. Like, what's your name? What company are you dialing in from? And also, I know it's 2:01 Eastern. We will get started in 1 minute at 2:02. I'd love to see if anyone new here. Got about 200 people signed up today. Got a lot to cover. Got about 60 slides that I wanted to go through with you guys and do some polls as well. And you can kind of hear from each other. But anyone here for the first time? Never been to an exclusive webinar? I recognize a lot of names. So it might not be the case. Got Robert, current client exclusive, seeking to expand my marketing IQ. Awesome. Bog Farm is who I work with. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, if anyone wants to introduce themselves as we go through, please do. If you have any questions, just start to feel comfortable using that questions box. And any audio issues, video issues, just let us know in that questions box. And let's get started. So for starters, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Nick Rajpal. I'm the VP of Marketing Sciences here. I've been at Exclusive for 15 years. I joined when we had a very small team of roughly 9 people, 3 of us managing the company, 6 employees. And I started developing our solutions at the time. So SEO, Google Ads, conversion, email, Amazon, and also built out our strategy team. And that's grown a lot. We have over 100 marketers on our team. We have 30 content writers. We have our sister company, which helps us with our data science. We've acquired 3 more agencies. 2 of them are over 100 employees each. And this 15 years have been phenomenal. I'm also the host of our webinar series. This is a brand new webinar. I'm excited about the content here. We are a performance agency with focus on driving great results, and sometimes those results are different for different economies. But mostly we have emerging clients. We also have established brands that trust us. And the way we approach things is a little different. We believe in being experts in a channel. So we manage roughly 15 different channels for our clients, just to stay in front of their customers. So if we manage a channel, we've got to be great at it. A different way of looking at things is, wouldn't it be nice if all the channels were part of one platform? And our strategy team is focused on that approach, trying to look at the whole world of your marketing ecosystem as if it was a single platform. And our technology team helps us kind of bring all that data together into one data warehouse so that we can actually treat all the data and all of our insights as if it was one platform that was like Google and Meta and Amazon and everything in one. A lot of what I'm going to cover today is thinking in that vein. You don't need this technology. You don't need to be with Exclusive to be able to think along those lines. But the wisdom and the power and the agility you get from thinking that way really helps you steer through some tough times. Speaking of tough times, like I said, I joined Exclusive 15 years ago. 15 years ago was 2008. Christina, I see you have your hand up. Are you able to write a question in? Oh, shoot. Christina put her hand up. Okay, if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the questions box. Is there any issue with my audio right now, folks? Someone said audio is fading in and out. Yeah, please let me know if it's consistent. So again, I joined in 2008. It was a tough time. Yeah, I think we all remember that it was a recession, and um, we're seeing something similar. Obviously, we're so used to double-digit growth in e-com. In 22 and 23, it's the first time we're seeing single-digit growth, which is scary for all of us. But we've kind of been there before, and we've had this great attitude. And our clients do too, where it's like, we're not going to capitulate to this. We've got to find a way to harness this, do the best we possibly can. It was definitely helpful for us to come in and fortify ourselves as performance and start thinking about the things we're going to present today. It shifted the dynamic for us in our own marketplace, which is the e-commerce agency world. It's kind of like, these are the scrappy people who can figure out how to get out of a tough situation. And for the next 12 years, we continued to see growth because we were doing that. We were on the Inc. 5000 for 10 years. Out of the next 12 years, we made it into their Hall of Fame, which is great. Very validating to this idea that performance matters. There's some other wisdom out there as well that helps us start to introduce where we want to go in this presentation and this thought process. And that came from our partners at Google. They gave us some really good information that they've collected through all the industry research, licenses that they pay for, etc. This was 2 recessions worth of data from Deloitte and Capital IQ. What happens when you're a company who actually invests in marketing when the economy is bad versus the cohort that divests or stays the same? What's the difference? And the growth rate difference is pretty astonishing. Those who invested constantly or reinvested constantly throughout the recession in 2001 grew 14.4% versus 9.3%, and then in 2008, even greater gap, 7.9% versus 3.6% growth after. That's using about 100 US retailers. Here's a different look using the PIMS database, which is over 1,000 companies. What happens when you increase marketing versus maintain marketing versus cut marketing? So the numbers that stood out to me specifically were that those who increased marketing, they saw the change in profits during the recovery be positive. And this was looking at not just marketing costs, right? This was looking at the costs of letting people go and switching vendors, trying to get cheaper vendors, things like that. There's lots of complications in cost cutting. And those who increased marketing and said, we'll try to cover our costs with maybe more revenue, might be slimmer margins, but we'll keep the whole and that the fixed costs kind of intact. They saw an improvement in profits of 4.3%, and they captured 1.7% more market share. I'm gonna try our first poll ever on Zoom, and just curious, during these past 12 to 24 months, where people have been investing or making investment decisions based on the economy, well, where did you fall? I'm going to close this in, let's say 3, 2, one. That's amazing. Thank you guys for participating. This is a lot of participation here. So let's share these results. So 57% of you said let's just stay the course, which is great. 26% of you probably had difficult conversations with your CFO and were told to decrease investment in marketing or just felt like that was the only direction you could go. Understood. And 17% of you, the brave few, increased investments in marketing. And while that can't always prove itself out right away, hopefully over time it does. Google's got a technology that kind of synthesizes a lot of information across a huge data set. They call it their ROI genome. And they show that brands that increased investment during the recession saw not just better ROI, but 60% of the brands saw better ROI. 70% growth in incremental sales, and then the brand building side, they actually saw year over year, not just for ROI, not just grow 1 year, but the next year as well. ROI continued to increase, kind of that long impact of brand awareness. And of course, timing matters. The 17% of you have been investing more to try to capture market share during the downward economy and can really pick up a benefit of that as the economy starts to resettle. Well, as today's news showed, we are now 12 months into a downturn of inflation. And if you look at this long-term chart going back to 1970, you'll see that this month's inflation number is fairly normal. It's fairly normal. It's a little lower than it used to be steadily until the mid-90s when things started to finally calm down a little bit. We finally got interest rates and inflation to be in balance. So what do we do? We've got our heads on the idea that possibly maybe there's an investment opportunity to keep growing. We've got to still find ways. So we think that these economic downturns essentially reveal three particular truisms. One, you do need to adapt. Performance marketing is critical, and you need to identify the innovations that are going to be the most helpful. So with that, we're going to surface essentially 7 changes that we'll go through each one in some detail. Moving away from channel level ROAS a little bit. We can't go entirely away from it, but we'll make the case for why it's so important to not focus on that too much during a time like this. Adapting something that's better, marketing efficiency ratio. We're going to talk about media mix modeling to guide your investment decisions. Where there's tons of saturation on a few channels, what channels are winning big right now as kind of a flow over for your investment where there's not as much competition. A vacuum is kind of balancing goals. How you can apply and unify your cross-channel strategy a little bit. We'll talk about the long game of customer lifetime value and CPA. And then for whoever has an opportunity to get a big boost right now on SEO, what is that worth and what do you do? So I'll start off with trashing the old way. So I'm sure most of you focus on your channel level ROAS quite a bit. And we've become conditioned to this. We believe that the ROAS gives us a sense of what the return is proportionate to the margin of our products. We're being profit centric. We can look at ROAS of one channel versus another. We can look at today's ROAS versus a year ago. So there's some benefits there for sure. But when we look at channel level ROAS, so we'll look at Google Ads, for example. Google Ads, its analytics is actually not meant for those things. It's not meant for you to compare the return of Google Ads versus Meta, for example. It's actually built in a totally different way. An in-platform analytics program is meant for decision-making and optimizations. So let's explore what that means. Say you have a user path, and someone comes in through non-branded Google Shopping, they engage with the meta remarketing ad, then they know your brand now, so they search for it. Then they search for it again and click on SEO. They sign up to your email because they're going to get 10% off their purchase to go through the email they purchased. That's actually normal. It's like a really normal 5-step, very believable scenario. In Google Analytics, not Google Ads, in Google Analytics, where Google Analytics is trying to help you see where to make some investments. If you use last click, then in that entire system of things that happen, your email would capture 100% of the revenue value. Even though email did nothing. It was just sign up to email, get 10% off. Signed up, opened, clicked, bought. They would never come to you in the first place if they didn't engage with your Google Shopping ad eons ago. Which is why positions-based, which gives 40% of credit to the first, 40 to the last, and 20% split for everything in between, is at least a better proxy of understanding value. Like, no, don't stop doing your email. It's effective. It's what's getting people over that last step. Don't stop doing non-branded Google Shopping. They wouldn't have been there in the first place. So you get those nice bookends. But that's Google Analytics. It's meant to tell you how to use your advertising together. But Google Ads is totally different. If you looked at the exact same user experience and you looked at just Google Ads would say, okay, 2 of the instances were Google Ads based. Google Ads last click would say, non-branded Google Shopping did not help at all. The only thing that helped was a branded Google search. Because again, you're saying give 100% of credit to the last click. Is that helpful? Probably not. Like if you're now trying to say, I'm looking at my data, where should I put more money? Should I put more money on my branded Google search ad because that's making me money? Now you still want to know what started it. So you use positions based. But it's still not that helpful. That's good for decision making, but not for contemplation of where to put your money or the actual return on ad spend. Then you've got other complications like Meta before iOS 14 versus after. They started playing around with the 7-day versus 28-day window. We know that continues to change. The Pixel went away, came back in a different form, doesn't work as well. So even your historic record of return on ad spend benchmarks don't always pan out. Some of the most popular strategies for awareness, when you put all this money into an awareness, don't always show up in your analytics the way you want them to, even though they generate tons and tons of money for you. They don't always often get the credit through basic analytics. And so much of your paid investment actually gets capitalized on through quick moments in your own media, and your own media gets all the credit. So it just becomes so fraught with problems that if you are making all your investment decisions based purely on ROAS, you're using bad data, but you're also fragmenting too much. There's a new philosophy that has kind of started to sweep over digital marketing. We embraced it as much as possible. We're updating all of our reporting systems to embrace this. It's called marketing efficiency ratio. And it basically says, we don't care what the imperfect platforms tell us allow them to guide us on optimizations. It's a nice reference point for some investment decisions. But at the end of the day, ROAS is not telling me my profitability. The only thing that will tell me my profitability is my total marketing costs compared to my total revenue. I want to invest in 15 channels. I want to go aggressively in awareness, even when it doesn't tell me that it's making money. But in the short term, 30-day, 60-day windows, I want to make sure that cash out and cash in, it's a particular efficiency ratio. The reason that we do this is because when you start looking at marketing efficiency ratio, time and time again, the investor says, oh my God, I thought I was investing in unprofitable marketing. I never actually looked at it this way. I'm pretty profitable. My marketing costs are not that high. I've been looking at things in silos for so long. I didn't know that I'm achieving an efficiency that is telling me right now to spend more. And that's the main reason you switch this, is because you get this beautiful aha moment and you get to go revisit the decision makers, the 26% of you that decreased investments in marketing, and go back and say, no, I've been giving you the wrong data. The actual data conclusively is that things are great. Okay, folks, so on the audio side, where are we right now? I've heard a few things in the chat. One person saying that the data keeps fading, or the audio keeps fading in and out, like every other word. Is that happening to anyone else, or is it just there's one person who's written it a few times? If no one else, then the person who's attending anonymously, please try to reconnect your device. I'm sorry, it might be on your end. Okay, it's only when I turn my head or lean to the side. Got it. Okay. Will do. So the next thing I want to talk about is, well, if you didn't use channel level ROAS and you're starting to use marketing efficiency ratio, how exactly are you supposed to figure out which channels to invest in? Especially when you're investing in awareness blindly sometimes, you know, with Meta with its 28-day window. What if it takes a year to turn awareness into sales? How do you know that your investments are right? The right way to do this is not through Google Ads attribution, but through media mix modeling. Media mix modeling is a multiple regression analysis that takes all the investments that you're doing on a weekly or monthly basis, compares it to revenue. If your sales cycle is long, then you start to look at investments for certain weeks and then revenue several weeks later. And you're trying to figure out which investments have the biggest thrust on revenue. When populated, any media mix model, and this is our media mix model, it populates in real time for our clients, shows you the revenue for the last 12 months and can project the next 12 months. But the TACOs, or the MER, TACOs is total advertising cost of sale, MER is a marketing efficiency ratio. It's two phrases for the same thing. Marketing efficiency ratio typically includes more costs, like the cost of your agency. But what is your TACO spend? What will it be? Of all the investments you've been putting money into, what has an impact? What has more impact on revenue? Or what has even more impact on revenue? And the beauty of a media mix model is that it's a tool meant for what if scenarios. So as soon as you get this data, we go right back in and start to say, well, this particular channel that's giving me so much more money, what if I increased my investment in it by 200%? What does that do to my ad spend plan for the next 12 months, my advertising cost of sale, my MER, my revenue? And it projects it out while telling you how statistically significant the result is. It also helps you figure out things like your actual seasonality and very specifically what your ad spend is going to be per month. One of our clients did a testimonial for us. We have been managing Pink Lily for Courtney for quite some time. Courtney's actually, she's great. We helped her build her business like Unique Vintage, but then she went to another company, and then she went to another company. And every time she joins a new company as their VP of e-commerce, she immediately just lets go of whatever agency that company's doing. She brings us in, and we make her look like a superstar. But the media mix modeling has helped us get significantly more momentum as well. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is, about 15 years ago, we managed 6 core channels. Today we manage 15 core channels. And what we find is most e-commerce businesses are still only focused on those core 6 from 10 years ago. The more you're invested in a saturated platform, the worse your results are going to be. Since 2021, Google's ad costs have increased 89%. TikTok's up 92, Facebook up 108. So but TikTok is maybe valued because it was just so cheap that even if it increases 92%, it's still quite there. But we know Google and Meta are a bit saturated. How do you siphon off some of the dollars you're spending there? Kind of control efficiency in your main core channels of Google and Meta, and then where do you put it? So here's some ideas. For starters, we mentioned Criteo. Criteo is interesting because while search and social marketplace can get to a lot of people through their closed access, like Google can get you in front of anyone using Google or Gmail or YouTube and display. But when you add Google's network and Meta's network and Amazon's network, still 66% of consumers' time is outside of those networks, what's called the open internet. But only 37% of marketing ad spend goes to the open internet. It's a vacuum. There's a lot of activity, the majority of activity, the minority of ad spend. Your dollars are going to go further there. As simple as that. You've got to fine tune your Criteo approach, but you're already starting at a financial advantage because of how unsaturated it is. For those who are invested in Google Ads but have not diversified away from search and shopping, PMAX, and maybe display, discovery is fantastic. This is for one of our clients, sells very high-end steaks. Display was profitable, 60,000 in revenue, 370% ROAS. We added discovery, we yielded another 45K at a higher return on ad spend. So smart move of expanded investment. Criteo case study, a client whose display performance mainly on Google Ads was flat, revenue and ROAS were falling. We supplemented with Criteo as a display network, and we were able to increase revenue by 100%. Another Criteo case study, we were having troubles on the display side elsewhere. For this client, Indigo Wild, we saw 6x growth in display with 8 times higher ROAS compared to the year prior. Criteo is just great at, well, a few things. One, they show native ads within articles, so it kind of seems like it's part of the article. They're dynamic and responsive display ads look much better than what you get from Google. You can target people based on in-market, based on the fact that they're searching your competitors' websites. You can siphon off premium buyers from discount buyers. That type of power is unique. So you can really fine tune who you show your ads to and in what situations. So the results are pretty amazing. For the client DK Hardware, DK is great. 2009, they were doing 5 million. Sorry, 2019, they're doing 5 million online. We increased them to 17 by 21. We increased them to 29 by 22. So great growth. We're always looking for more places to invest. And for them, we just wanted to get as much non-branded traffic, hitting a 400% ROI, ROAS. So we expanded to Microsoft ads. We hit all our goals. 62% increase in spend with 75% more revenue, better OS than we saw on Google. This is one of the things that's kind of driving us on Microsoft, where we just got chosen as Microsoft's Agency of the Year in the US. A few weeks later, they announced that we were their Agency of the Year in the world. Very excited about that. Also part of Microsoft's network is not just the search side, where you do non-branded search, but their audience targeting and display network. And for Brochu Walker, we had a very lofty goal. We wanted to grow revenue while maintaining a 750% or higher return on ad spend. So we started using their Microsoft Display Network, where 41% of Microsoft users have an $85,000 or higher household income. Perfect for Brochu Walker. We saw a huge boost in spend, tripled our spend, more than tripled our return, more than tripled our revenue. So phenomenal results from diversification there. Pinterest is another great area to look at if you're trying to broaden your investments. Pinterest is 75% female users, 40% have a household income over 100,000 per year, one of the most wealthy user bases. And it's a search-focused platform, so you get to target keywords. So for Duck Feet, a very high-end shoe company, we just focused on essentially aligning to the type of keywords that we would target in our Google ads with some of the creative that we might use for Meta, but customized towards Pinterest. But the good thing is that our impressions were 42% less than what we were seeing on Meta. So great awareness with the right people. Our click-through rate was 50% higher than the industry average. Another Pinterest case study, because Pinterest is just, it's a great place for people to invest. I don't think enough people are invested in the ads on Pinterest. Here for Kalini Coastal, we wanted seasonal sales. We focused on basically gift giving, holiday decor, and saw a 29% increase in return on ad spend by having a holiday specific approach to Pinterest ads. Cold prospecting helped us for another home decor business, seeing 300% plus ROAS from there. So the good thing once again is that compared to Facebook for this client, we saw more efficiency on the CPM and click-through rate side than what we were getting from Meta. So diversifying a little bit from Meta into Pinterest brought performance back up to snuff, where performance had dropped a little bit or flattened on the Meta side. We had a few questions here. Doesn't Google Display cover the open web? In the data that I just showed right now, it isolated Google's network as not part of the open web. Like their calculation that Criteo does, they don't consider anything that Google can touch as part of the open web. Yes, Google has been a lot of places through their display network, but it's still part of their network. Dana, you're also asking, are there certain types of products or demographics that do better on Microsoft ads? It used to be that Bing was known to be good for older adults. Yeah, we just did a webinar with Microsoft and then another webinar comparing Google Ads strategies to Microsoft ad strategies. And we showed the data, except for the fact that Microsoft's users are a little bit wealthier on average than, or earn more rather, than Google. Demographic wise, it's pretty even. So with Microsoft, you target people who have Microsoft Office. You can target anyone on LinkedIn. You can target anyone who's using Xbox. So some things that kind of lean towards B2B decision makers, to some pockets like gamers. With ChatGPT, we've seen a pretty even swath of Google users start to transition over to Bing, creating a more flat demographic makeup difference between the two. Hopefully that helps. But yes, you're right about historical, for sure. Lastly, just to kick TikTok case study, and this is nothing compared to what we're going to do in a few months in our upcoming TikTok webinar, where an agency that we've recently acquired, EK Creative, we're going to cover some of the things that they've done that has made them a TikTok rising star, including one case where live shopping took a business from, here are these numbers, 6,000 per month. That's what the business was doing through TikTok live shopping managed by EK Creative. They increased from 6,000 per month to 700,000 per month with business. It's scary, but TikTok can have a huge impact if it's the right fit and the right strategy. So you see some things that are happening in these years where we think everything is down that just shock us. So TikTok is an area where you might be shocked by your results. Okay, cross-channel marketing. So the way we do our marketing planning, we always focus on, instead of having a strategy for Google Ads or SEO or Meta, we say we want a strategy for awareness, consideration, which is non-branded search, conversion, past visitors till they buy, loyalty, past customers buying again, and advocacy, which is getting past customers to like or share or review. And you want to coordinate these strategies. You want to have a tight idea of what's going on and just keep adding more channels to that strategy. When you're doing your awareness marketing, always keep in mind that the signals that are available in Google, Meta, TikTok, Pinterest, and Amazon are all built using the same concepts. You've got affinity, like this person has a penchant to buy from this particular category. Life events, like they just had a baby. In market, or other advertisers in your category are seeing this particular person visit their websites, demographics, etc. So when you invest in cold awareness targeting in one channel and you unpack what's working, you can replicate that strategy in 4 to 5 channels. It's something that we're trying to build some technology around to give us faster insights and connect those dots, those disparate targeting capabilities. But some of our strategists have proven already that a little bit of coordination on this side can take huge investments further. We did a case study on balance of nature a few months ago. Huge investor in Meta, seven-figure spender on Meta ads. We talked about how we learned something in their Google ads that we cloned in Meta, and it became the highest performing investment on their Meta ads, even though their Meta ads were already this ginormous investment. This coordination is actually, I think, a kind of a hidden secret that the platforms are not talking about, that they built their technologies the same way. You just need to figure out the dots. Consideration is your other strategy, which is non-branded search. A few things to think about with non-branded search is that you get a lot of keyword data from Amazon and Google Ads and SEO and Pinterest, and you should be coordinating your pockets of keywords that are most successful. But there's also a more tactical way of doing this. In what we call our Google search term report, what we've done, which anyone can do, is take all the search term data from Web Console and all the cost per click data for those keywords from Google Ads, and we match them up. What we're looking for is keywords that are not well optimized for and don't rank well in Google Organic, because we know if Google Organic's not ranking us well, then most likely Google Ads is charging us more for those keywords as a quality score penalty. So just by filtering a few things in our reports, you can get to those keywords. But here's the data. When you are targeting a keyword that you rank well for on page 1, you have a certain cost per click. If you rank worse and worse and worse organically, your cost goes up for that same keyword when you're running ads. So your keyword cost goes up 60+% when you're targeting a keyword that you don't actually rank. It's a nice way of balancing the two. On the conversion side, I won't go into great depth on this, but there are only 4 known ways in which people make purchases. They are called modalities in the science of consumer behavior. And if you architect an experience for your visitors that stays consistent to a particular modality, you are likely to get a higher return. The 4 modalities are this: competitive. This is where you constantly reinforce that intangible lifestyle premium value of your brand until someone is ready to pay your cost. Social is when you know someone has a learning curve challenge for what they're buying. So you reinforce your value propositions with reviews, user-generated content, testimonials, chatbot, phone calls. A spontaneous buyer is waiting for the right time and will respond to horrifying imagery like reds and yellows and big font. It creates an animalistic response. I'm ready to buy now, but I have no time to do it. That's spontaneous shopping. The methodical buyer comes to your website knowing enough to say, I've got my criteria. Tell me that the product I'm buying fits that criteria. Give me some guarantees and I'll buy. It's calm, but it requires a lot of data and a lot of various variables that are well organized and well represented. On the loyalty side, when you're targeting your past customers, obviously you want to coordinate. We'll give you a pro tip here. If you're on Klaviyo, Klaviyo has over 100,000 e-commerce brands. Klaviyo natively takes the dynamic lists that you create to do email and SMS targeting to, and can update those lists as customer lists in Google Ads, Meta, and Criteo in real time. And you can add TikTok and Pinterest and others through the Zapier connection if you want to. But your lists and your email, SMS, Meta, Google Ads, and Criteo strategy can all be centralized through list management in one technology. That's the right way to do it. For any one of our clients on Klaviyo and on those channels, we automatically start organizing that. And we do that because it's better results. We highly recommend it. It's worth the extra time, effort, and kind of cooperative brainstorming. Habit number 6, don't mistakenly ignore your new customers. This is a tough thing. We have a philosophy called investment strategies. And in investment strategies, what we're trying to do is balance the short-term MER, how much money am I making within 30 to 60 days? Money out, money in. With the long term, I want to keep increasing my customer lifetime value, and I want to keep acquiring new customers. If your cash situation is bad, you may want to ignore customer lifetime value a little bit. Maybe spend 20% there, 80% on MER. If your cash situation is great, but you need to see growth, focus less on MER, more on CLV, customer lifetime value. And for most situations, balance it. Google shared this, that revenue growth for businesses that invest in the long-term perspective, a customer lifetime value perspective, grew 4.2% versus 0.3%, which is a 14x difference of growth rate. What we're doing is we're bringing all of our clients into customer lifetime value reporting. We built this to be natively integrated into Shopify. And if you're not on Shopify, we can do this for anyone. But here's the things that we think are important to look at. You want to be able to calculate your customer lifetime value over 12 months, what your cost per acquisition is, and how many net new customers you have. Ideally, you also want to be able to take any snapshot cohort of people and see what the basket size is, what the customer lifetime value is after 30 or 60 or 90 or 120 days. We built this in real time, but again, anyone can build this on their own. And when you're thinking long term, you want to set 2 targets. What do I want my customer lifetime value to be over 12 months? I know what it is. What will I do on the loyalty side to increase it maybe by 10 or 20%? At the same time, you want to set a cost per acquisition target using your current customer lifetime value and your profit margin and your break even, and set your goal below that. Now, that will upset your marketing efficiency ratio, because if you're willing to pay more than it takes to be profitable to acquire new customers, it's gonna rock that. So every single month, you want to revisit your MER and your CLV goals and find that balance and set new goals. Alex, you're asking, will you get slides and recording? Yes, you will. Everyone will. Thank you for asking that. So I finally close with a reminder that you have to balance your short-term MER and long-term CLV. It's a monthly focus. For our existing clients, you're going to start to see a new process that we're going to introduce you to over the coming month or two that allows us to look at marketing efficiency ratio and customer lifetime value every single month, look at the data and the details behind those numbers, and make recommendations. It's based on new technology that we just created, so we're flushing out a few ways to extrapolate better insights from that. Last thing I want to talk about was it's SEO time whenever the economy's bad. Even when there was like no brick and mortar stores available, Amazon wasn't advertising on Google, when there's basically no way to go except Google during the pandemic, SEO was producing 21% of revenue for our clients. Brick and mortar reopened, Amazon advertised, people are shopping on TikTok and Meta, and still SEO produces 19% of our clients' revenue. So in perfect conditions and terrible conditions, SEO produces 19 to 21% of revenue for our clients. And because your marketing dollars going into SEO are probably very slim, if you can get that number up even a tiny bit, it'll be one of your best investments you can do. Here's some things that we've been looking at recently. Listicles. Listicles is like, say you're selling bed sheets, and you know that virtually everyone who's going to buy high-end bed sheets is going to type in best bed sheets to buy today. And they're going to go to Wirecutter, and they're going to go to all these different article sites. You want to be part of that. So part of your SEO strategy should be that you get the link, you get that SEO visibility, and typically, even if you're not on the list, you can get added. And while they don't look like affiliate sites, they typically are. The second thing to look at is what we call the relevance differential. Relevance differential is what percentage of your non-branded keywords rank on page 1. It should be 20 to 25%. So how do you use this calculation? Imagine you checked how many keywords you rank for on SEMrush, and 5% of those keywords are on page 1. That means you can increase from 5% to 20. Your non-branded traffic can increase 4x. All you need to know is what that number is. It's a little tricky, so we built it into a scorecard. It's one of 4 fundamental analyses that we do in our scorecard for free. And I figured maybe people would be interested in this. So I just went ahead and put this as a poll. If you want the scorecard, where you just tell us what your website is, you don't have to give us access to Google Ads or analytics or anything. We can run our entire proprietary tool on this. We can basically help you size up how much extra money you can make from SEO, and we'll deliver it to you. No strings attached. You don't need to meet with us. If you have questions, we can answer them, but it's a very low commitment. That's a non-committal commitment. But I'll close this out in 3, 2, 1, and our team will follow up, folks. One more thing to think about, especially as AI is starting to take over Google's results, you're going to see your product pages show up in the results in a slightly different way. And this has already been happening for about a year now. What your product pages are going to show up as is not organic text results, but rather as clusters of product images with reviews and pricing. But to get included in that, you need to have really good HTML markup that is specific to the criteria Google needs for product selection pages. So another thing to stay focused on. Last thing, it's just exciting. There's a technology that we've recently built that, again, anyone can create on their own, but it's a great process to do. If you're going to take pages of your website where you have like 5% of your keywords ranking, what you're going to do to get 20% of the keywords ranking is simple. You're going to research what keywords should I optimize for? Like, what do I rank for? What do my competitors rank for? Synthesize that together. Then you're going to use the most competitive keywords in the title and H, and the rest of the keywords in the body, and you're going to write body content. We created a tool that helps find those keywords. We say, we're writing for page X. What have we ranked for in the past? What do our competitors rank for similar keywords? And our tool grabs all that in real time. So it saves you like 30, 45 minutes of research per page. Very effective to get a lot of work done quickly, especially if you're trying to optimize to get 20% of your keywords ranking before the holidays. A process like this, on our side, we can write a lot of content very quickly and overcome that challenge. So before I go to any other questions that are out there, just want to throw out that if you like the way that we use data and when we're approaching strategy and how we approach our cross-channel marketing, we'd love to kind of figure out what might work for you. And this is a free option that we offer where we study your business, we study your competitors, we look at what their channel investments are, we look at your channel investments, we start to size up the investments that will give you the most efficiency, ways to diversify, to fine tune, and we can add audits that go into like deep dive of your SEO or Google Ads or Meta and see where your current performance can be improved. We lay out what your team structure is going to be, pricing, and get into projections. We do all this at no cost. The only first step is after you say you're interested, we talk to you first to try to figure out if you are the type of business that our skill set can actually do a good job with. And if not, we'll let you know. So I'm going to close this out in 3, 2, 1. And let me see if there's any other questions that I did not answer already. Art, yep, was any of the scorecard? Alex, I answered your question about the recording. Dana, your questions about Google Display and Microsoft ads. I think I already got those. Is affiliate marketing one of your 15 core channels? What's the importance of affiliate marketing amongst the channels? Robert, thank you. Appreciate it. Lauren, right now, affiliate specifically is not an advertising channel that we do on its own. It's not that it's not important to us. While we're acquiring new agencies to bring into the exclusive family, we're looking for businesses that we think have done a good job in the affiliate network in ways that we believe are credible with the results. The affiliate world can be a little black hat at times. So we just want to make sure that with affiliate, we've got a clean partner there. Can you explain Criteo more? Yes, by the way, the person who has asked that question, if you can send us your email address, we'd love to reach out and send you a webinar that we recently did with Criteo that kind of got into more details. So Criteo is a display platform like Adderall or Perfect Audience. A little better with attribution. For those of you who have used Adderall or Perfect Audience, your main gripe might be that the numbers don't seem right, but they take too much credit. And Criteo first came on the scene with a better attribution model that was more reasonable. But today, they boast just one of the biggest e-commerce user bases and e-commerce functionality. I think that's probably the main difference. It's put in simple terms, it has the best levers, bells, and whistles to target your potential buyers, be them cold, past visitors, or past customers. With right now, the best looking and most engageable ad display units in display, especially for like beauty brands, which I'd like to learn more about Klaviyo too. What's the email? Oh, Marisa, you're saying I'd like to learn more about Klaviyo too. What's the email? Could you just finish that question? What is our email address, or what are you asking there exactly? Dana, how big do companies need to be to benefit from this wide array of tactics, or specifically some of your more expensive ones like Criteo? So, my email address is nrajpal@exclusiveconcepts.com, or you can write to sales@exclusiveconcepts.com as well. So Dana, Criteo is actually a cheaper, and all things being equal, a cheaper investment option because you can have a low ad spend and it'll still work. We charge a very low fee to manage it compared to Google Ads, for example. For Google Ads, we charge 5 times more base fee than we do to manage Criteo. This is because of how much time it takes to manage each. Google Ads is very expensive with search, shopping, PMAX, display, discovery, YouTube, and the coordination of all that. Criteo's get a more controllable set of tools. So companies, if you're doing $1 million per year, you should probably be on Criteo if everything else fits. I wouldn't say every e-commerce business should be on Criteo, but I did ask our team recently, what is the criteria to say no to Criteo that where we've seen failures with our clients on Criteo? And we have a lot of contraindicators for TikTok or Pinterest or even like Google Display. There were no contraindicators or reasons not to invest in Criteo. So oddly enough, for that particular conversation, Criteo is a great catch-all on e-com. Great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope there's some lessons here that can be used. Would love to talk to many of you down the road, and please share feedback. So thank you, everyone. Have a great Wednesday.